Hello, my name is George Vadabon-Kerr. I'm the manager of planning special projects for the Township of Oro-Medonte. Welcome to our short-term rental accommodation and bed and breakfast establishment licensing bylaw education session. We have about 20 people on the call. This is first time I've done one of these webinars, so please bear with me as I move through the presentation this evening. We have 19 slides that I'd like to go through with you. And in the slides, there's one video dealing with the cloud permit application process. After the presentation, there'll be an opportunity to ask questions. And if we don't have the answer, then feel free to email us and we will get back to you with the answer. Curtis will be speaking a little bit later on in the presentation this evening. And anyway, with that, I think we'll get going. So our agenda for this evening is basically we're going to speak briefly about the definition of a short-term rental accommodation and a bed and breakfast in the new licensing bylaw. We're going to speak about the goals of the licensing program. We're going to talk about the industry-specific software that we're going to be using, the application process, the penalties and enforcement, next steps, and then we have our question period. So first of all, the definition of a short-term rental accommodation and a bed and breakfast. These are two definitions that are pulled from the licensing bylaw. Essentially, a short-term rental accommodation pertains to a short-term rental that's rented for a period of less than 28 days and is advertised. So advertised on a platform, in a newspaper, if those are used, but essentially most of the advertisements are on a platform, and it can be and it can take a number of forms, but a commercial resort unit in a managed property is not included as a short-term rental because they have a company that manages the properties for them. But a village commercial resort unit that is owner operated, it is subject to the licensing bylaw. Bed and breakfast definition is on the screen, and essentially the key there is that it has to be owner occupied and the primary residence of the owner. So what are the goals of the STRA and bed and breakfast licensing program? So the goal is essentially to maintain the community character and ensure peaceful neighborhoods, ensure rental properties are safe for occupants, ensure rental properties are compliant with municipal bylaws and regulation, and provide staff with tools to address concerns that are brought forward by the public. So the software that we're going to be using to administer the program are two. There's Cloud Permit, which is the application software. So this is the software that you will be using to submit your license application. It's software that is used by the township for the receipt of building permit applications, planning applications, and municipal law enforcement activities. So we're just expanding the use of this software to include licensing. The second software we're going to be using is from a company by the name of Granicus, and Granicus assists the municipality in monitoring properties for compliance. They also provide a 24/7 hotline for submitting and tracking concerns, and they assist staff in investigating STRA and bed and breakfast concerns. They monitor about 100 websites for advertisements pertaining to STRAs. And I receive a monthly report that outlines all the STRAs and bed and breakfasts that are operating in the municipality that are advertising on one platform or another. So we're able to keep track of what's happening in the municipality. So I'm going to talk now about the application process, and I want to just go through some of the highlights. A lot of what I'm going to talk about now is on the township website, and I'm just going to stop sharing for a second this particular page and show our website. If I've got the technology here. So this is the short-term rental. This is the short-term rental accommodation licensing webpage. And this little symbol here is used to get to this page. And it has all the information with respect to the application process, preparing for an application, drop-down menus dealing with the application process, et cetera, et cetera. It also has a button here where you can apply. So we're going to go through the various steps, and we'll go back to the PowerPoint presentation now and go through the presentation. But I encourage you to visit the website, because a lot of the information we're going to be covering tonight is on the website. So on the website, there is a pre-application checklist, and it contains a number of things that are going to be required prior to you submitting an application. And you can see on the screen here the various types of information that's going to be required. And a lot of the forms that I'm going to be speaking about are on the website, and they can be downloaded. They are fillable forms, so you can fill them in right there and submit them as part of your application. So there's a number of things that need to be done prior to actually submitting your application. Most of the things you can do yourself. The insurance requirement is something that you'll have to address with your insurance provider. You'll need to obtain an insurance certificate from your insurance provider, outlining that you have insurance with a minimum of $2 million per occurrence for property damage, and that you have an endorsement that covers a short-term rental or bed and breakfast establishment being operated on your property. And you are required to maintain this insurance while you operate your property for a short-term rental or bed and breakfast. So this is something that you'll have to reach out to your insurance person, and typically they would just send you a PDF of the insurance certificate with the required information. So part of the process, you need to submit a sample site plan, and we have samples on the website. It's a pretty straightforward drawing. You just need to show the buildings and structures, septic system if applicable, all landscape features, parking areas, waste disposal locations. For those at 90 Highland Drive, Highland Estate, on the website, on the township website, there is a site plan that's been provided by the condominium corporation. So that's there for you. You don't need to prepare your own site plan. All that you need to do is just indicate which unit you have of the units that are shown on the site plan. And while we're talking about that, to indicate where your parking spots are located. Here we show an example of a floor plan, and the floor plan needs to show the entrances and exits, where the smoke and carbon monoxide detectors are, fire extinguishers, et cetera, et cetera. And again, for 90 Highland, the various types of floor plans have been included on the township website. You need to pick the one that that corresponds with your unit and use that to mark up with the requirements. So the application process is that we'll use the cloud permit platform to submit the application and all the attachments and requirements. Staff will review the application on cloud permit and determine if the application is complete. If not, a notice will be sent advising what needs to be done to complete the application. Incomplete applications will not be reviewed. And once the application is deemed complete, it'll be circulated to internal departments, bylaw staff, building department staff, and fire department staff, along with treasury. Comments are received and applicants are advised if there's any issues to address. Site inspection will be conducted by the municipal law enforcement officer or the fire department, or both, to ensure that all requirements are met, and subject to passing that inspection, the license would be approved and issued. So license fees, the license fees are listed in the licensing bylaw. They're annual fees, and the fees are charged on an estimate to ensure cost recovery for the municipality. So basically, there is a cost to administer the licensing program, and the license fee has been set to recover those costs. For a short-term rental accommodation, the license fee is $1,500 annually, and for a bed and breakfast, the license fee is $500 annually. Those fees are reduced for renewals. And as an incentive for obtaining a license in 2026, you'll pay the one fee, and you'll be licensed for all of 2027 and the balance of 2026. I'm just going to go through now the presentation.
Get started by opening your browser and visiting your country's Cloud Permit login page. We suggest using Cloud Permit in Firefox, Chrome, or Safari for the best performance. First-time user will need to register an account. Create now under Register for an account. Provide an email address, agree to the terms of service, and click Continue. After that, please check your email for verification and click the confirmation link within the email. This will instruct you to finish creating your account by inputting some personal details and creating a password. Use a medium to strong password. After successfully setting up your account, you'll be presented with a 5-step guide on how to submit your first application. After reviewing, click Create your first application. Select the application type, if applicable. Some cities may have planning approval and other modules as well. Next, select Create Application. For this example, we are applying for a new single-family dwelling build. In this case, we'd select Residential as the project type, and then select the applicable category, work type, and work target for the application. If you're unsure of which category you should select, you can refer to the descriptions below category selections. Now, create a new project for your application. Think of the project as a folder where you can have one or more applications. You can name the project whatever you would like. After providing a name, click Next to proceed to identifying the property. To locate the property, enter the address in the search bar. Once you begin typing, you'll be presented with results and can select from the list. You can also manually navigate on the map to the property and click on the parcel. Regardless of whichever method you choose, once you've successfully identified the property, various details will populate. The status of an application is always shown here. Currently, the status is Draft, with the next step of Submitted. The required tasks are shown with a red alert and a description of what needs to be done on the right before it can be submitted. Begin identifying the parties to the application by clicking the Open button to reveal the parties. If you need to identify another person, you can do so by sending them an invite email. Click Add or Invite Party, enter the email address, select which roles they're acting in to give them any additional permissions, and add a personal message if you would like. When you're done, click Send Invite. If you're acting for more than one role, click the pencil button at the top right of your name and add in all applicable roles. Once you've successfully identified all required party roles, you'll be presented with a green check mark under the Required Tasks section of the workspace. Next, you'll work on the application forms. This is all the written information a city needs to collect. Scroll down to the Application Data section to find the forms you need to complete. To complete a form, click on it and begin filling it out. The city will define what information is required and if there are one or more forms for a particular application. Here are a few helpful tips. Red asterisk marks will indicate the required fields you must complete as you fill out the form. Your work will be saved automatically and there is no save button. Finally, after filling out the information, return to the previous page by clicking the Back to Workspace button. Now it's time to upload the required attachments. Scroll down to the Attachment section of the workspace. Required attachments will be listed on the red vertical banner on the left side. To upload attachments, you can drag and drop files from your computer onto the gray Dropbox or select the Click Here button and select the attachments on your computer. Regardless of whichever method you pick, identify the attachment by clicking the Select button under the Type section of the attachment. Select all attachment types that your file represents. To help clarify the attachment type, you can also enter a drawing number and description. Click Done when you're finished uploading the attachment. Once you upload all required attachments, you'll see a green vertical banner on the left side of each attachment name. Now that you've identified all the required party roles, filled out the required forms, and uploaded the required attachments, you can sign off on the application. Click on the Sign Off Application button, review the information, answer any applicable questions, and then click the Sign Off button. Depending on the local government you're applying to, you may be presented with an upfront bill that must be paid before submission, or you may be able to submit the application immediately.
I think that concludes the video. I'm going to stop sharing this the slideshow for just a second and go back to the website, and I'll just take you through quickly the website. So here you could see Apply Now, and it's going to take you to this page here, and you're going to click on Licensing, and you're going to click on Apply Now. And you're going to go next. Obviously, you'll have to create an application. There's category here. You're going to see short-term rental. You click that. It's going to be a new application. You're going to choose a bed and breakfast, short-term rental condo. So those are for the applicants at 90 Highland. And then we have short-term rental detached dwelling. So then there's the definitions of the two. Then you go to next, type in your address, and just follow along. So that is there on the website, and you'll be able to go on, and where this is here, click. And as I indicated, a lot of the forms are listed here, and they are fillable forms. So when you need to attach a form, you can open the form, fill it in, or save it and then bring it over. So I'm just going to stop sharing here and go back to the presentation. So okay.
Immediately.
So now I'm going to turn it over to Curtis, and Curtis is going to speak to enforcement and penalties. Curtis?
Thanks, George. So Curtis Shuswell here, Manager of Municipal Law Enforcement for the Township. I'm going to speak on the enforcement slides as they come up here shortly. So the Township, as George has mentioned, has retained Granicus to assist us with the enforcement piece. George, you can hear me?
Just see if Curtis Curtis is attending. He's just I don't see him able to communicate. Pardon me? Okay. Okay, did I screen share that presentation about the website? Okay.
We're just waiting for the screen here to catch up to the enforcement piece. So
Okay, there we go. Where are you, Curtis?
so you're on the title page again of the presentation.
Oh, okay.
And as George is bringing that back up, as he's mentioned, that we do have Granicus assisting with enforcement. Granicus has 3 platforms that we've retained. So address identification, which they will provide us with all active short-term rentals that are using platforms. As the slide mentions, is that they will go through 100 plus websites to find advertisements and make us aware of users and individuals that are using these platforms to advertise their rental. Compliance monitoring is the other one we are using, so they're going to assist us with notifications, letters, as they've already done, sending out that first letter to all the operators that we are aware of at this point. And then when we get into enforcement, they may from time to time assist us with doing letters to assist with making people aware of some of the violations and changes potentially to either the bylaw or just some of the updates we may have. 24/7 compliance or compliant hotline. Again, if we get complaints coming in, Granicus will be the ones that will get those complaints, let officers know. Officers will attend or will address depending on that complaint and the nature of it. As George has kind of mentioned, the bylaw itself does have demerit points. It also has the ability for staff to issue AMPs. AMPs is a fairly new tool that we've had here at the township. It's worked well so far. And again, fees that are issued through AMPs go directly to the tax base and are required to be paid in a similar manner. George has just put up the slide for demerit points. So you see on your right side different options for demerit points if an operator is in contravention of the bylaw. We do have the ability to issue a demerit point for that contravention. If you accumulate 7 demerit points within a 6-month period, the property owner will be advised that their license will be suspended. There is obviously in Schedule C several more options for staff to use, and different, obviously, as different contraventions that that the bylaw has. If you want to flip the next one. So this is our AMPS. As I said, AMPS is, we're about a year and a half into the program of having this tool for enforcement. These are the AMP fees that we have the ability to issue. You'll see first offense through to the third offense, they accumulate and they do increase for each one. Third and beyond stays at that maximum level. And again, these fees are something that you cannot avoid. If you are issued an AMP, you have the ability to appeal the AMP. But if that appeal is unsuccessful, this will be transferred to your tax base. And then I will note that any unpaid fee will go against your license for that next consideration year. Next slide, please. So I don't know if George wants to take this one on, or if he wants me to take go through the next steps. It's up to you, George. I'm willing to
Yeah,
help wherever.
I can take over, Curtis. So thank you for outlining that. So next steps. So the licensing bylaw was passed on July 22nd, and council has delayed implementation of the bylaw until September 30th to give opportunity for STRA and bed and breakfast operators that wish to operate in Oro-Medonte the opportunity to obtain a license to remain legal, or they must cease advertising their STRA or bed and breakfasts. So those that require rezoning, they have until September 30th to apply for a rezoning. And I didn't get into the rezoning application in this part of this presentation, but there's information on the township website under planning applications. And it's a cloud permit application that you need to submit, and similar requirements. But you must submit a rezoning application if your property needs a rezoning by September 30th, or cease advertising. And the property must be zoned by January 30th, 2027, and licensed, or the STR and bed and breakfast must cease operating. And as I indicated and showed you, the information on submitting a license application is on the township website, and that button is live, as I showed you. And it's there, all the background that I spoke of, including the licensing bylaw and whatnot is on the township website. And municipal law enforcement staff and planning staff are available to answer questions. So this slide has Curtis and my contact information. There's also an information STRA information at oro-medonte.ca email address that you can use as well. So that concludes our presentation. As I indicated off the top, a copy of this presentation will be posted on the township STRA and bed and breakfast website, along with a copy of the YouTube video that I showed earlier. So I'm going to stop sharing at this point, and we're going to open it up for questions. So happy to take any questions that people may have. And we have a hand up from Mustafa. Mustafa?
Hi, George. Thank you for hosting this meeting. Me and my wife, Amna Abasi, we own a unit at Carriage Country Club, or at least used to be known as Carriage Country Club at 90 Highland Drive. We understand that we're impacted by the STRA enforcement, and we have a material concern that a lot of the unit owners at our community share. That being is the fact that, per the communication received from our condo board, they have told us that our units are very unique in the way that they are structured, and they allowed us for the last 4 years to be able to rent both the main unit and the studio unit as independent units. And due to current economics and Airbnb travelers, they're primarily and only picking the studio unit. And what the condo board has told us is the township is not going to be approving independent studio advertising. And I just want some clarification around that.
Yeah, thanks for your question, Mustafa. That's a question that I've received from a few of the owners in the Highland Estate development, and that is correct. The definition of dwelling unit, not only in the zoning bylaw, but in the licensing bylaw, does not define the studio as being a dwelling unit. So the units in Highland, 90 Highland Estates are considered to be two-bedroom units. So as an owner, you have an option to rent the one bedroom that has the full kitchen if you have one parking spot. And if you have two parking spots, because I understand not every owner in the development has two parking spots, you're allowed to rent the two bedrooms as an STRA. You need a one parking spot per bedroom. But you are correct. You cannot rent the studio as an independent unit because it does not meet the definition of a dwelling unit.
Thanks, George. And while we're not challenging the definition of a dwelling unit, as per our APS, we understand that the entirety of the property is a single dwelling unit. But within the bylaw itself, the STRA is defined as any dwelling unit that is advertised in whole or in part on platforms that allow short-term travel. So what we're trying to understand is that anywhere within the bylaw, we couldn't find any section saying that the STRA must be only advertised in whole.
Yeah, so it's the definition of a dwelling unit. So an STRA is permitted in a dwelling unit, and there is a definition of dwelling unit in the licensing bylaw.
So I have the bylaw here in front of me, and I'm trying to find the section. So where the STRA is defined, it mentions critically on the first line that STRA is any dwelling unit that is advertised in whole or in part to be rented. Look, I'm not trying to sound redundant here. The issue is the fact that many of the owners over here, there's a long history of financial ruin that's gone on at our units, and we're trying to be able to not go into foreclosure with the way that things are going at our property. The key issue is the fact that if we can't advertise or rent out our studio units, and by the way, the fact of the matter is that this property has stood for over 40 years in the same manner, and the previous operators, whether it be Carriage Country Club or Sunray, have all rented out the studio units to short-term travelers or timeshare or whatever it may be. What we're trying to understand is why is it now that after 40 years of enforcement and allowing the previous operators to rent out the studio units, are we now being detrimentally impacted to not being allowed to do that? Because I can speak to my Airbnb, and about 80% of all the bookings that we've got are all from short-term rentals for studios.
Yeah, and I can't comment on what happened in the past, and it wouldn't have been the township that would have permitted that rental. It's that I'm just telling you what the definition of a dwelling unit is, and the studio is part of that unit. The unit has a number, and if you look at that unit, it's unit whatever, and it's a two-bedroom unit, bedroom one and bedroom two, and so it's a two-bedroom unit, and that's how it's defined. So in the licensing bylaw, that's reflective of that. And when it says in part, you are limited by the number of parking spots that you can rent. Plus, there's a limit of eight persons. So that doesn't apply to your situation. But for example, if you only have one parking spot assigned to your unit, and you can only rent part of your unit. You could only rent the one bedroom apartment because you only have one parking spot, and it's one parking spot per bedroom. So that's what in part means. So hopefully that answers your question. And And I think we'll move on to see if there's any other questions. Yes, Dorota and Neil.
Yes, hi. I just have a question. So from the moment that we submit our online application and assuming all the documents are complete and correct, what's the approximate timeline that we can expect for it to be approved so we get the permit?
So that's an excellent question, Doretta. We're just embarking on this process. So we're anticipating that it's going to take us a little bit of time to review the initial applications. We're anticipating that we're going to receive several applications from 90 Highland Drive. And because a lot of the pre-work has been done already through working with the condo corporation, we're anticipating that that process should be fairly quick. Some of it will depend on the availability of the owners so that we can get in and do an inspection. But the circulation process is fairly quick. So I would suggest that 30 days is a reasonable time frame.
Okay, gotcha. And just to confirm, because through your presentation, when you went on the website, I saw that there was a apply now button. Because when I tried to apply a couple days ago, there was a note saying that the application process is still under development. Please check back soon. So is it safe to assume that we are now able to go online and apply?
Yes, you can go online and apply, Doretta.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Yes, Hong. I can't hear you, Hong. We're having a little bit of audio trouble, Hong, because I can't hear you. I'm not sure if you can hear me either. We will see if there's another question and maybe Hong can come back if she's addressed the audio question. Yes, Mark, please go ahead.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Perfect. I'm just having a question of how to find our property on the zoning map. I find it a little bit confusing. Is there a way I could just call in and you guys give you my address?
Yeah, just quickly here. Where do you
I'm a property manager, so I don't know if I want to reveal it on the phone with everybody. I have to get the owner's consent. I wanna
okay,
know,
well, is it
just-
in maybe you could just describe it for me then.
Okay.
Is it in the rural area? Is it
1 second, let me tell you.
so what's your question, Mark?
So my question really is just like, how do I do the zoning? I can call in, and you guys can give me the zoning, right? Where I'm at, and then is it easy to get it rezoned? Is that difficult?
Well, there's a process that you need to follow. I suggest that you go on the township website
Yeah.
and under planning applications, and there will be an explanation with respect to the process, what's involved. Depending on the location of the property, you may want to have a pre-consultation meeting or at least have a conversation with planning staff with respect to your application prior to submitting your application.
Mhm.
You also should refer to the official plan with respect to the policies around establishing a short-term rental within the township. In the
Mhm.
official plan, there is criteria that is used to evaluate any zoning application for an STRA. So looking at your property, you need to, do your own self review to determine whether your property you think might meet the criteria that's outlined. And then if you do, and it further the conversation with planning staff, then by all means submit an application. But You can do a lot of the due diligence work yourself ahead of time.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Chantel? Go ahead. Chantel, you have to unmute. There you go. Oh, you're muted again.
I'll get it. All right.
There you go.
You'd think as a teacher I would know how this works. Okay. I just had a question. So regarding the aerial views of the property, can we just use the GeoHub website? Ontario GeoHub to show you the property where the septic is and everything, just show that on there? Yes, okay.
Yeah, if you can scale it, you know, to show the dimensions, you know, frontage, depth,
Okay.
all of that.
All right, perfect. My second question was regarding the property itself. So the room or the location, can that just be hand sketched, like to show the bedroom, the washroom, or do I have to do like something on a Canva or something particular?
It can be hand sketched, but if you do it to scale, then that's fine. There is software available online that's free that you can use to prepare a floor plan.
And what would that be? Do you know
I think,
offhand?
yeah,
Or
I
do
don't know
I?
any of the names off the top of my
Oh,
head, but when I did a Google search, a number of them popped up.
okay.
So just have a look.
I can Google. All right. I think that's all I had for now. Okay. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. Yes, Ivan Jolos, please go ahead. Can't hear you, Evangelos.
Yeah, hi. I just wanted to check to ask about the bookings at 90 Highland Drive. Like we have Airbnb and there's the studio booking has been already uh, it's been in place for until probably 6 months uh on the road, and we would like to seek for a grace period because this news about not being able to rent out the studio unit is only very recent, and we don't have a chance to tell our guests. So I was wondering if we can have a grace period to say that 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 it will allow us to book until probably 6 months from now.
So thank you for the question. What is your intention with respect to the unit?
It's essentially a short-term rental Airbnb.
But are you intending to get licensed?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so maybe you can send me an email offline directly with respect to the unit and what your request is, and we will deal with that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And Joe has a question.
Can you hear me?
We can.
So I'm looking to get that process started, but mine actually starts with the rezoning. And I've started a application for rezoning. I did notice one of the parts asks for like elevation and setbacks. Is that something that I'd have to bring out like a site surveyor? I'm assuming it's asking for setbacks from like the road to like my actual where the property starts.
Yeah, so you don't need to get a surveyor. You can do that yourself. Again, you can prepare the drawing to scale but you show the setbacks from the road, from the property lines, any accessory buildings on the property, you would show setbacks from the dwelling unit. That's what that's required, and you could use the same plan to show the driveway. You know, the entrance to the dwelling unit, but you can draw that yourself. And again, as I indicated earlier, there is software available online that you can use. Typically, a lot is rectangular in shape, and there is the ability to use the software. So
Are you guys okay if I just like grab a snip from Google Maps and kind of just edit on there?
again, it has to be to scale and it has to be legible. So we need all the information on that plan and to scale and being able to read it.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I think Google Maps is the scale, but I just wanted to see what you guys thought.
Yep.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Another question? Rashman, go ahead. You're on mute.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I'm new to this. I just want to understand, is short-term rental allowed in the property inside the Eagles Rest community, or it requires rezoning?
Which community is that, Rashman?
It's a new Eagles Rest community at line 3 and Old
Eagles
Bass
Rest.
Yeah,
Yes.
Eagles
No,
Rest.
short-term rentals are not permitted in Eagles Rest.
So what does it require to do?
You would require a rezoning.
So first I have to do rezoning process and then licensing?
Then licensing. And again, as I indicated to an earlier question in response, I said that prior to submitting a rezoning application, you should familiarize yourself with the official plan policies dealing with the establishment of a short-term rental. And you
Okay,
should have a conversation with a member of the planning staff to review what you're proposing before you submit.
okay. And any idea on the cost of the rezoning? Is it allowed for individual property?
It's for each property, and the cost is approximately $4,500.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, sorry. Thank you so much for taking me again. Can you just, I have the location if you don't mind checking for me, the zone. It's on Tudhope.
Tudhope. It's zone shoreline residential.
So, no.
STRs are not permitted in the shoreline residential zone. They're only permitted in two zones within the township of Oro-Medonte. So shoreline residential, they're not permitted.
What are the chances that could change? Or
Mark, I'm not
not
prepared
sure.
to speculate. Each property is evaluated on its merits based on the criteria in the official plan, and a determination is
Great.
made.
Okay, so do a zoning application request and then the application itself, once I get approved, right?
Yeah, there's a zoning application and then there's the licensing application.
Okay, thank you
two
for your time.
processes. You're welcome.
Thanks. Bye.
And Mustafa.
No, I think it may have accidentally pressed.
Well, I just saw your hand up. That's all.
No problem.
And Chantel. Hand is up. Maybe Chantel did not have a question, just her hand was up.
I do have a question. Sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh my God. Okay. In listening to everybody else, I'm just trying to think, how can we check if we need rezoning or not? Like, is there some way we can go look, or we just got to look at a definition and figure it out by ourselves? Or do we call somebody in the planning staff or?
Yeah, you can look it up yourself. Just on the Oro-Medonte website.
Yeah.
Under planning, there's zoning bylaw and there's zoning bylaw schedules. And there's a key map where you can identify, approximately where your property is, and then go to that particular map. They're all labeled A1 through, I think, 20, and you can determine the zoning on your property.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Do we have any other questions? I don't see any other questions. Give it one more time. Any other questions that anybody wants to ask? Okay, seeing none, I'd want to thank everybody for attending this evening's education session. I hope you found it informative. All the information that we covered tonight is posted on the township website under the STRA or short-term rental accommodation licensing page. There's a little icon you can tap. It'll take you to that page and all the information is there. For the residents of 90 Highland, the floor plans and the parking map are on the website, so they're there for you to use to submit as part of your application. And for those that need a rezoning, the information on a rezoning is on the township webpage as well under the planning tab. Anybody considering a rezoning, I would encourage you to discuss that with planning staff prior to submission. So there being no further questions, with that, I want to thank everybody, and I think we'll end the meeting now. So if we can do that,